What's going on, everybody? You see a Jaguar back with GenTag.com, and I want to first of all apologize for not coming out with a video for a whole week. I've just been having technical issues with my computer, and I've been working a lot. So I have a big expectations for this channel, and I plan to hopefully get this channel to 100,000 subscribers one day. And I'm not going to get that far unless I'm only uploading once a week. So you guys should expect more uploads from me. Now, the last video I tried to upload was a video explaining all the quarterback scenarios, and I tried to upload it Monday. It failed. Then once I was trying to kind of do it on Tuesday, some NFL news broke with Alex Smith being traded to the Redskins, and it pretty much made the whole video irrelevant. Now, in that video, I was explaining pretty much all different quarterback scenarios for the Jaguars, but, you know, in this video, I just kind of wanted to limit it down to one person instead of going through all the free agent guys, just because there's really only one quarterback that makes sense, and that's obviously Kirk Cousins. Now, I'm going to basically explain to you guys my opinion on the matter, and just a precursor before I make this video. In this video, I'm not trying to sway any opinions one way or another. I'm just trying to give my take on a thing. And when it comes down to it, opinions are like assholes, and some stink a lot more than others. So if you don't agree with my opinion, I don't care. I'm just gonna put my opinion out there. Nothing that I say in this video will affect what the Jaguars do at the quarterback position. But, you know, we've had a 4-year sample size of Blake Bortles, so, you know, people either feel one way or the other about it. And it seems like it's two heads just fighting at each other and just going through all kinds of hell, name calling, that kind of thing. So, yeah. I'm gonna put my video or my opinion out, and you guys can take it for what it's worth. Okay? So the Jaguars quarterback situation with Blake Bortles has been a bit of a whirlwind all year. I mean, you started off with Blake Bortles doing terrible in the preseason, preemptively causing a quarterback competition between Blake Bortles and Chad Henne before Blake Bortles officially won his job back and started week 1. And then, you know, the first half of the season, it really wasn't very good. I mean, we were all very well ready to write Bortles off, including me, who has been a big Blake Bortles supporter. But, you know, the only people that didn't count him out were the actual Jacksonville Jaguars organization. And you know, the second half of the year he kind of turned it up a little bit. You know, he did still have his ups and downs. He really cut down on his turnovers. I believe he went 11 games without turning a ball over, and when he doesn't turn a ball over, he's 10-1, so that's very, very good. And, you know, it's just been a bit of a whirlwind. I know people all year have been asking me, what do you feel about Blake Bortles? What should we do? And I just said, you know, let's go ahead and take it all throughout the end once we end the postseason, and then we'll kind of discuss this matter. Now, when you look at Kirk Cousins, I personally think that Kirk Cousins is an upgrade and is better than Blake Bortles. Now, the thing is, you're going to have to give up a lot to get Kirk Cousins. You know, he is going to, a lot of people are kind of underplaying this, but when this dude signs his contract, he is going to be the richest player in the NFL. You know, he's probably going to get $30 million a year. Last year, Derek Carr became the most expensive quarterback on the market, and he got signed by his own team. So, if we were to sign Kirk Cousins, you know, we would be in kind of a big kind of salary cap bind where we are going to have to start cutting players. And a lot of people talk about this window that the Jaguars have to win a Super Bowl. Now, me personally, I don't think that there is a window if you were to, you know, bring back a guy like Bortles, just because you have the ability to sign more players onto the team, like, you know, extend Yannick Ngakoue and like Miles Jack when their contract comes, you know, bring back Allen Robinson. But, you know, if you bring in Kirk Cousins, you're going to all of a sudden have to start cutting some players. You know, like this year, we're going to have to cut ties with probably a guy like Marcel Darius. We're not going to be able to re-sign Allen Robinson. And, you know, in the future, we might not be able to re-sign a guy like Yannick Ngakoue and Miles Jack. And, you know, that does make me a little bit uncomfortable, just because the Jaguars got to where they are through their defense, you know what I mean? And we're returning a lot of defensive players. 10 out of 11 of our starters are returning, so, you know, that's all good and well. Now, a lot of people are under the assumption that if we sign Kirk Cousins that we are automatically going to be, like, Super Bowl bound. But, I mean, me personally, when I look at Kirk Cousins, you know, I do see a good quarterback, but I haven't really seen Kirk Cousins really be able to elevate a team and really get them into like a playoff run. And you know, he's had a lot of weapons on offense. You know, Jordan Reed, he's had Deshaun Jackson, guys like Alfred Morris and stuff like that. But you know, I've just never seen him like, he's not like a Peyton Manning type of free agent, even though he's been the best since Peyton Manning came out. But you know, I just don't know with Kirk Cousins how like much he really elevates a team. Now, I think that Kirk Cousins is a top 15 NFL quarterback, and I think Blake Bortles is probably a top 20 NFL quarterback. You know, like, I don't think that, you know, I do think that getting Kirk Cousins, you are able to upgrade the quarterback position, but you're going to have to break the bank, and then all of a sudden we are in huge salary cap issues. I mean, if you look at the teams that need kind of upgrades at quarterbacks, you see that the Jaguars pretty much have the least amount of money. And just in my opinion, if we want this team to continue to be successful for a long time, we are going to have to be able to re-sign key pieces to the defense. Now, like all you guys, I was pretty ready to write off Bortles, you know, especially just halfway through the year. He was just playing super mediocre, and you know, he just left a lot to be desired. But then I thought in the second half of the season, and especially the postseason was when he kind of sold me. I mean, granted, he didn't do all that well against the Bills, but once he played the Steelers and Patriots, he really just elevated his play. Now, you can make the argument that you know, Blake Bortles, he didn't win us the Patriots game. You know, when he got the ball at the end of the game, he wasn't able to win it for us. And that's a completely fair argument. But to sit here and say that he had a bad game or that he lost us the game is just flat out incorrect. I mean, he was balling out at the Patriots game until we kind of went conservative. And we didn't only get conservative on offense, we also went conservative on defense. You know, having the two best cover corners in the league, and you know, playing like cover 3 and cover 4, then, you know, just trying to pound the ball against the Patriots. It just didn't turn out to be a good game plan at the end. Now, I would like us to keep Blake Bortles and not go into the Kirk Cousins sweepstakes, and then potentially like draft a quarterback. You know, now I wouldn't mind in the first round if we grabbed a guy like Lamar Jackson or like Mason Rudolph or something like that. You know, I haven't done too much homework on the quarterbacks, but I mean, I do think we should keep Blake. And you know, the dude is still young. I mean, granted, he's playing the NFL for 4 years, but he's only 25 years old. And you know, we see a guy like Alex Smith. You know, he basically started off his career kind of like Blake Bortles did, just a lot to be desired. And then, you know, he's elevated his play as the years have gone on. Now, you know, you look at a guy like Alex Smith, and he kind of reminds me of Peyton Manning, of the way they're kind of like regular season heroes, where they do super well in the regular season, but you know, once the postseason comes, they kind of crumble. And you know, you see like with a guy like Alex Smith, he's had 2 different teams move on from him. You know, this season on the Chiefs, like he had a great season, but you know, they were so ready to ship him off, and so were Kansas City fans. Kansas City fans were rejoicing when they got rid of Alex Smith. And you know, it's kind of be careful what you wish for when it comes to bringing in a guy. Like, if we were to bring in Kirk Cousins and he all of a sudden isn't like the answer, then all of a sudden we're in huge salary cap situations. Then all of a sudden our team could potentially start to crumble. Now, Blake Bortles, we could potentially sign him to like a 3-year cheaper deal where, you know, he wouldn't cost that much money to cut, and you know what I mean, he just wouldn't be like breaking the bank like a guy like Kirk Cousins. But I mean, me personally, I just don't think that Kirk Cousins really like elevates a team. I don't think that he's like in a category of an elite quarterback. You know, now Drew Brees could potentially hit the market. With Drew Brees, I would go all out to try to get that guy. I mean, that guy is no doubt a huge upgrade to the team, but yeah, I mean, I just don't buy into all the Kirk Cousins hype like everybody else is. Now, there are a couple reasons why I think inside the organization they do believe in Blake Bortles. Now, first of all, Tom Coughlin. When you look at Blake Bortles in 2016, he was probably the worst starting quarterback in the league. I mean, his mechanics were awful. He regressed in a big way, you know, as well as the whole entire offense. You know, Greg Olsen just did not have a good game plan with the offense for whatever reason, and you know, Blake Bortles' quarterback mechanics regressed big time. But he was still Tom Coughlin came into this team and knew we could win right away, and he decided that he retained Blake Bortles after having such an abysmal season. And when everybody else was willing to write off Blake Bortles as a quarterback, they stuck with him, and Blake Bortles led us to the AFC Championship game. And you know, if we had a guy like Chad Henne in there at quarterback, I don't think that we win the amount of games that we win. You know, now Blake Bortles with his, you know, some of his like weaknesses, you know, like with his throws, you know, they could be, you know, he doesn't fit it into that like 6-inch kind of window where you want a perfect elite pass to kind of be. But the thing is, the guy, he's a playmaker, you know what I mean? He makes plays with his like feet and, you know, just really good pocket presence. You saw him against the game with the Bills where, you know, his arm wasn't working. He was able to win the game for us by starting to run the, you know, use his legs to run the ball. And, you know, he works really well at the play action. You know what I mean? His pocket presence, like I said, has improved. But one thing working against Blake was he didn't really have many offensive weapons. You know what I mean? He missed the fact that we did not have a #1 wide receiver in A-Rob. And when Al Robinson is in the game, he draws double coverages, and that will loosen up the box for us because we really didn't have many guys that were winning just one-on-one battles this year. You know, we didn't have that go-to tight end. Like, if you look at Alex Smith and the weapons that he had, you know, Tyreek Hill. He had Kareem Hunt. He had like Travis Kelce. You know, he had all kinds of weapons all over the field that he could spread the ball to. The Jaguars, you know, their best receiver this year was Marquise Lee. And, you know, even he left a lot to be desired out there. You know, when we would try to give him the ball in clutch scenarios, you know, I like Marquise Lee, but he didn't catch the ball. And, you know what I mean? I just think that if we were to, you know, build on the offensive line, get that receiving tight end, bring Al Robinson back in here, that will open up the pass game a lot for us. And if Bortles, you know, you look at him in 2015, you know, he had a pretty good year. And then, you know, that offseason, I think he kind of took his foot off the pedal. You know, you could put part of the blame on Greg Olsen, who, when Bortles wanted to go back to his quarterback mechanic coaches, Greg Olsen advised against this. He said, no, stay in Jacksonville and work with your receiver coaches. And, you know, Blake Bortles listened to his offense coordinator, did that, and he obviously regressed. But also, you got to put a little bit of blame on Blake Bortles just for not keeping his stuff straight. And, you know, this year, I think he is going to continue to work hard because he knows what it's like to have a year like 2016 and just absolutely blow it. And, you know, Bortles, I just thought that when the whole, you know, everybody was ready to count him out, he just improved his play. And another big factor was that he won the trust of his teammates. You know, his teammates really bought into him. You know, you saw at the beginning of the year guys like Jalen Ramsey and Al Robinson liking tweets basically talking about replacing Blake Bortles. So then, you know, in the postseason, you see players jumping into other players' interviews and defending the guy. You know what I mean? Like, I do think that Blake Bortles will be returning as a star next year, week 1. It doesn't count out the fact that we may draft a quarterback, which, you know, I wouldn't mind doing. It's just when, you know, we got this far through having a great defense. And if you sign a guy like Kirk Cousins, you're limiting your options on a defense. And then you do have that true window where you are going to be able to win. Now, you know, if we keep Blake Bortles, we are going to be able to extend guys like Miles Jack, guys like Jalen Ramsey, guys like Yannick Ngakoue. You're able to bring back a guy like Al Robinson. You know what I mean? And, you know, I just don't buy into the fact that if we bring in Kirk Cousins, he is going to elevate us to the Super Bowl. Now, I do think Kirk Cousins is an upgrade, but not at the price tag he's going to be at. I'm telling you guys, he is going to be the richest player in the NFL. And, you know, if I just don't see a guy like, you know, John Elway giving him up. You know, like, I just feel like John Elway being a quarterback, you know, out there in Denver, he saw how bad his team did. I mean, he had a top 5 defense, but he had no quarterbacks that were capable at all. He had 3 different quarterbacks the whole year, and I believe they finished up the year like 4-12. So, you know, I just think Kirk Cousins will wind up in Denver. I think the Jaguars do keep Blake Bortles as a starter, whether it be under that, you know, 15 or that 5th-year option at $19 million. That would put him at like the 18th or 19th most expensive quarterback in the league. Or if it be under like a 3-year deal that it could be, you know, easier if we were to, you know, if he were to play good, keep him on, but if he were to play bad, potentially cut him and let the, you know, next quarterback kind of play. But, you know, those are my thoughts on the situation. Don't go all crazy at me in the comment section, act like I'm an idiot, because I don't care. I'm giving you guys my opinion. But yeah, that's all I got today. This is UCF Jaguar with GenJag.com. Go Jags, and I'm out.